call it out and just to say, we as Democrats should not be discriminating against candidates who have young children, who are women, because otherwise, we are not going to have our perspectives heard in government. Yeah, those are my thoughts on it. It's been a very unusual experience, but we've persevered. I think one of the positive things, though, is that I've actually shown a really good ability to connect with women. So a lot of our volunteers are women, our campaign manager is a woman, and I also found out recently that I'm actually among the top 10 House candidates in the entire country who raise the highest percentage of my money from women, from female donors. And we currently are raising, I think it was 57 or 58% of our money from women. So I'm really grateful that, and maybe this isn't always true of our party's leadership, at the local level here, but when we're talking about, actual voters in our district, normal people, the people who matter and the people who really do have a voice in this process, I've gotten a ton of support back from women in our community. And I am so grateful for that. And a lot of people say that they really want to see the perspective of working families represented in Congress. So I think we're doing a great job connecting with women here, with women voters. And again, that's what matters for winning elections. When you look at our district has a relatively low percentage of registered Democrats, and we do have a larger number of registered Republicans, along with a lot of independents. But I think part of the way we can change that math here in our district is to do a great job connecting with women who are nonpartisan or who are Republicans and, showing them that their voice and their perspectives matter in Congress, whether they have young children or, whether they're older. I think that that's an important part of our path to victory here in this district.
As a mother of kids who's trying to figure out what in the world to do with them over this summer, I really would love to see more parents of young children in Congress who realize that we face these kinds of problems.
Oh, absolutely. I have. And I'm literally scratching my head about the same things and trying to cobble together, if our one babysitter is leaving in July, then who's going to come take her place? And, especially with 3 kids of different ages, 2 of them will be in preschool, but then one is in pre-kindergarten, and they're all at different schedules. And it's, it's very complicated. And again, to illustrate the kind of just callousness and ignorance that we have in Congress right now, Tom McClintock, our incumbent, was real active in the discussions about putting additional restrictions on the SNAP program, the food stamp program, which has been a subject of debate the last few days in Congress. The House GOP, they want to impose work requirements on parents, on people who are parents or the parent of children, I believe it's age 6 and over. Tom McClintock decided that's not strict enough. He actually proposed an amendment to bring that age down to 3 years old. Our incumbent here actually went out and, made this strong argument that if you are the parent of a child who's older than 3, you should be required to work at least 20 hours a week in order to get food stamps. The obvious question is, who's going to take care of that 4-year-old or that 5-year-old while you're telling someone to go out and work 20 hours a week? 20 hours of daycare per week in a really nice quality setting is expensive. This is just, it was outrageous to me. And, I usually try to be well-behaved on Twitter. I try, but I had to do some tweeting in all capital letters after this because, it just shows such a lack of empathy, a lack of any ability to understand the perspective of somebody who's a parent, who really cares about their child, who needs to feed their child, but also needs to ensure that they're in a safe, quality setting. You don't want to leave your kid with just any random person who's willing to watch them for free. Not everyone has relatives who are capable of watching their kids for free. So what is some parent supposed to do if you're forcing them into a situation where they have to choose between their child being in a safe, quality environment or getting food for their child? And the rest of the GOP actually disagreed with Tom McClintock on this. They actually voted down his amendment. And it just shows again that there are so many reasons why Tom McClintock has to go, but he's really on the fringe of his own party and really far out of step with his own party. And we do have a fair number of Republicans here in our community, but I like to call them reasonable Republicans. They're not out there saying that we should be taking food from 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds. And Some of the papers in our region here actually wrote about this. I mean, McClintock actually earned himself some news coverage. And I think the way they put it is that McClintock just keeps enlarging the target on his back for the Democrats who are coming chasing after him. And I think that's true. The man is practically running a campaign against himself. So that's part of why this seat is very gettable and very winnable. McClintock is really out of step with our district, especially the working families here, and we're doing a great job of connecting them. And I'm really, proud and honored that so many of them have already started voting for me. Early voting, mail-in voting is underway here. And I have to say it's really humbling to be out in a coffee shop and have someone walk up to you and say, "Oh, I recognize you. I just voted for you today." That's actually started happening. I feel like we have a lot of momentum and support here. I think that Tom McClintock is, just among the worst of the worst in Congress. I mean, he was recently rated the most conservative House member from California. So when we're thinking about, all these seats in California that present a great opportunity to go grab back a seat and contribute taking back the House, Tom McClintock is really vulnerable. And I really need the help of everyone here in our district, but also all of your listeners to make a difference and to go win in this election.
Excellent. And Election Day is Tuesday, June 5th.
That's right. That's when the primary is. And then we're heading into November.
Thank you so much for joining me. This has been really great, and I really, really want to see more moms of young children in Congress.
Well, thank you. I think it's, again, we get a lot of weird comments here, but when we're talking to the voters, that's what I really hear from them. So thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to do this.
Thanks for listening to Two Broads Talking Politics. Our theme song is called Are You Listening? Off the album Elephant-Shaped Trees by the band Immunari, and we're using it with express permission of the band. Our logo and all original artwork is by Matthew Weflin and is done expressly for Two Broads Talking Politics. We can be found on our website at twobroadstalkingpolitics.com. You can reach us by email at twobroadstalkingpolitics@gmail.com, on Twitter at twobroadstalk, on Facebook and Instagram, and you can support us on patreon.com. You can find our podcast on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and anywhere podcasts are found. If you are interested in advertising on Two Broads Talking Politics, please email us at twobroadstalkingpolitics@gmail.com.